everybody, and welcome to another live stream and Dishing with the Dietitian. Ever wonder if dining out is going to sabotage your goals? Let me alleviate any fears or concerns that you have by showing you tonight how to navigate a menu and how to dine out and leave a restaurant feeling like you didn't compromise your goals in any way, but you had the experience that you were hoping to have. What makes me in a position to be able to discuss this with you? For those of you who are new to my channel, let me say welcome. I am so delighted to have you join me on the live stream. Please let me know that you're here, anybody who's joining me on the live stream, by giving me the thumbs up. That lets me know that you're here, and it gets me pretty excited, as you know, because the beauty of the live stream is to have people joining you on the live stream. Live stream is very rich with conversation and interactions, and I'm going to be throwing out a lot of questions to you, so having you here will make this great. Oh, there are 5 people watching now, and I am over the moon. For those of you who are new, let me introduce myself. My name is Debbie Kravitsky. I've been a registered dietitian for over 30 years. Currently, I'm the Director of Nutrition at Mass General Hospital's Cardiovascular Disease Prevention Center. I consult with many corporations. I've appeared in television. I've also been featured in national publications such as Harper's Bazaar and Family Circle magazine. It gives me my greatest joy to help you to reach your dietary goals by presenting accurate, current, evidence-based nutrition information. If this is something that interests you, please consider hitting the subscribe button. That will allow me to continue to do this. Also, in live stream, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to write them in. I'm going to be checking along. Oh, Boo, you're awesome. Hello. And hi, Charlene. Yay. I have to tell you that the beauty of this is the people that I have a chance to interact with, both at work and in my private practice, as well as here on the live stream. And it's you people that give me the excitement and really get me all thrilled to do this and motivated to continue to present this to you. So today let's talk about dining out. I want to start by getting the message, the takeaway out, and that is definitely don't be afraid to go out for dinner. I love to go out to eat. Let me think about it like this. First of all, it's a change of atmosphere. You tell someone to cook for you what you'd like. How wonderful is that? Because they actually do it. And for me, the best part is they clear the dishes. If anybody knows me, they know that cleaning up is my least favorite. So having somebody clear the dishes, why would I tell you not to do that? The trick is to make sure that you take the control back. When you're cooking at home, you know exactly what's in the food that you're eating. When you go out to eat, you need to apply your knowledge of nutrition so that you have the experience that you were hoping to have, and that you don't compromise or sabotage your goals in any way. For that, you'll need a roadmap. Pre-planning is key. So I want you to make sure to think about where are you going and what's on the menu that you're going to have. You might take a look at first and say, uh-oh, there's going to be nothing here for me to eat. Well, take a look a little closer. I asked my husband, would you say 8 out of 10 times when we go out to eat, I tweak the menu? And he said, seriously, Deb? I think 12 out of 10. Because you want to have the, Mike and Linda B are here. Awesome. So thank you hi to you guys too. So you want to make sure that you have the experience that you're hoping to have. So pre-plan your meals. Look at the roadmap. Think about where you're going to go. So if you take a look at a restaurant menu and they have pasta primavera, pasta with vegetables in a cream sauce, and cream is a saturated fat that's going to clog your arteries, but they have the vegetables. Let them steam the vegetables. If they have chicken parm, they have chicken. Let them grill the chicken, steam the vegetables, and now you're good to go. So I think there's almost no place that you can go as long as you tweak the menu, and you're going to be totally fine. Now, when you're pre-planning, utilize the web. It's an invaluable resource. Almost every restaurant today has their menu up on the web. And we have a restaurant law here in Massachusetts. 20 or more, and many other states, New York has the same, 20 or more restaurants in the chain, they have to, by law, at point of service provide you with the nutrition breakdown of that menu item. There are two caveats to this, however. One, it's not regulated. So there's a group called Nutrition for Science and the Public Interest, and they went around to different restaurants and they ordered items off their menu. And they brought these items to their independent lab. They wanted to see, was there a difference between what the restaurants were reporting to be the nutrition breakdown of those menu items versus what their lab found to be the case? And lo and behold, surprise, surprise, these restaurants are severely underreporting what's in those menu items. However, it still is more information than we ever had, and it will still get you to the same bottom line. If you see something and you say, oh my gosh, I had no idea it had that many calories or that much sugar, it's probably a lot worse, but it still gets you to the same bottom line that it wasn't a good choice. So use this information because it's wonderful. Also, it doesn't include condiments. You have a slice of cheese in your sandwich. You have dressing on your salad. You have a smear of mayonnaise in a sandwich. Any condiment is not required to be included. It is required to be included for vending machines as well. So that might surprise you, but vending machines or companies that have 20 or more vending machines have to, by law, at point of service, provide you with that nutrition breakdown of the items being purchased or available for purchase in that vending machine. Keep in mind that if it's not right there in the machine, there should be a placard beside the machine that will tell you that. Also, when you're given choices in menu items, you can get a sandwich with a salad or a sandwich with potato chips. If there's two choices, they'll both be listed separated by a slash, the calories for each one. If there are three choices, there'll be three slashes so that you could see the calories being provided. I don't know if any of you have gone to Costco or to, I'm sure, BJ's or any of these places. Again, 20 or more in the chain, they have to, by law, at point of service, provide you with the nutrition breakdown. So as you're leaving or you're checking out of one of these places, you may see their kiosk, their food service. All of a sudden, you're seeing the calories, and it might surprise you. I know it shocked me in some of these items as to how many calories are in some of the foods that are being served. And what shocks me even more is when I see at the tables that people have actually still ordered those items. So I wonder if, and I'm going to throw this out to you, has it made a difference to you? Are you seeing the calories on menus? I can show you that this is a menu from Del Frisco, and they were kind enough to share their menu with me, and I can see the calories on each of their items, and it makes a difference for me. It's going to change how I'm going to order. But let me know if it's impacting you and if this restaurant law is making a difference in your food choices, because I'd be very interested to hear from you, to hear that to be the case. What's interesting about when we dine out is we tend to eat in anticipation. And I'm going to be checking to see if you have comments as we go through this. But as we tend to eat in anticipation, we say, and think about if you do this as well, if I go here, I got to get that. And if I'm going there, well, I'm getting that. Keep in mind a couple of notes. One, chefs change all the time. Some restaurants have proprietary recipes, which means the chefs have to stay by that recipe. They cannot change it at all. Some restaurants don't. They allow their chefs to put their stamp on the recipe, to make it their own, to add their own twist. So you might get to a restaurant and what you thought you were going to get might taste the same, but it might not. Also, let me know if this has happened to you. If you've been going low sodium for a while and you eat a dish and it has a lot of salt, oh, don't you taste it right away? It makes that dish almost inedible. I love it. I'm so glad. But it makes that dish almost inedible. And my husband, I have to tell you, has been going low sodium for quite a while, which also doesn't mean low flavor. Low sodium just means low in salt. So hot sauce, pepper, lemon, and enjoying the flavor of the food itself. Any powder, it's not a salt. will always add herbs and spices, adds flavor to foods without adding the salt. And you become sensitive to salt, so that he actually had a low calorie drink last night, and I was shocked. He said, I got to tell you, I can taste the salt. Now, by definition, 140 milligrams is low sodium. This drink of his was 150 milligrams, which is still very, very low sodium, and yet he could pick up the salt. He's become so sensitive to salt in food that he could taste it. So let me know if this has happened to you, that you've gone out to dinner, there's a dish that you've ordered, and you taste that salt. It makes that dish just about inedible. So that's why when you go out to eat, you really want to ask a lot of questions. The other thing that might happen to you, let me know if this has, is that you're used to perhaps going low fat for a while. You order a dish, it's very rich, it's got a lot of fat in it, and all of a sudden it doesn't agree with you, it goes right through you. Also, a very uncomfortable feeling. If this has happened to you, either case, I want you to remember this. This is your body saying to you, what the heck was that? That isn't what you used to give me, and I'm not liking it one little bit. That's a good sign. That means you're in your zone, that you've been giving your body good, clean fuel. All of a sudden you don't, and your body rebels, so to speak. It doesn't like it. It doesn't know how to break it down and digest it anymore. So this has happened to you. Good, because that's a great sign. It's exactly what you want. And thank you for writing in, because this is exactly the beauty of the live stream. So that's why you really need to ask a lot of questions. You want to ask, how is this prepared? What kind of fat are you using? You want to know the fat, you want to know the salt, you want to know the carbohydrate source, and you also want to know the portion. Do you call the restaurant ahead of time to see if it's one of those that allows substitutions? Absolutely. You are the customer. I think that's a great question. Do I call ahead? Many times I will. Particularly if you have a certain dietary restriction. Perhaps you're going gluten-free. Perhaps you want to make sure that they'll substitute oil instead of butter. You want to ask that, because when you arrive, you want to feel safe. You want to feel like you're in a place that you can have the experience that you're hoping to have, and you don't want to get sick. If you get sick, it's you. So you want to make sure that you can trust this restaurant to make these substitutions, and that they will do so happily and willingly. So calling ahead, I think, is a great idea, so that you have the insurance that you need once you get there. You don't want to get there and then say, I'm sorry, we can't do that, and then you're scrambling. So I think that's a great idea to call ahead, and it's part of that pre-planning strategy. But so make sure that you do that and make substitutions. Ask. You just can't ask enough questions. Again, you're looking for the fat. You want to ask what kind of fat. If they're cooking in butter, ask them to substitute oil. If they're cooking in, if they're using a lot of salt, most of the salt that you're going to get is from two places, from processed foods, but really most of it will come when dining out. And restaurants love to salt your food, because when you eat a lot of salt, what does it make you? It makes you thirsty. And the more you eat, the more you'll drink. And the more you drink, the more you'll eat. And up will go your tab. That's their goal, not yours. The goals for restaurants and the goals for you are very often very, very different. So make sure you ask them. Panera often will salt their salads. You have to say to them, if this is what you're doing, please don't do it. I'll taste it. I don't want to have to send it back. Please don't do this. Please don't use hardly any salt, or don't use any salt, and because you'll taste it and you'll know if you've been sensitive to it. And if you haven't become sensitive to it, make sure that you tell them not to cook with it, so that then you can just add your own, where you'll have much more control if you do need any salt at the end. But make sure that you're very clear with this. Also, you want to ask the kind of carbohydrate that's being used. Remember, you're trying to go high in fiber and or whole grain. So if they're offering white rice, ask them, do you also have brown rice? Because I'd love to make that substitution. If they don't have brown rice, get a baked potato. But be careful of how that baked potato is cooked. if you follow the fat, you're going to follow the calories. Fats are the most concentrated source of calories we have. So many times they'll oil the potato or they'll salt that potato. So you really want to make sure that you're mindful of that. Even when ordering a baked potato, you've got to walk them through every step of this way, so that you're not surprised. If something comes to you and you're surprised by that, it's actually your fault. You didn't ask enough questions. It doesn't mean you don't send it back. Absolutely do. You're paying for this. You don't want to compromise your goals, but just learn the lesson. There was one time I went out for dinner and I ordered steamed broccoli. I thought that was pretty clear. I don't know what propelled the chef to put something on it. The chef did. So now I did. I sent it back, and now I know when I order something steamed, I say steamed whatever, nothing on it. So you just can't be clear enough. Hi, Charlene. How much brown rice can you have in a meal? It's a great question, Charlene. For a woman, remember, it's 1/4 of your plate. That's that quadrant when you're rating your plate. So when you go out to eat, remember, rate your plate. Half your plate will be filled with vegetables, the non-starchy veggies, the veggies that have a lot of water and fiber, the broccoli, the asparagus, the string beans, the salad. About that much would be about a 1/2 cup of brown rice. If you're a guy, go to the cup, a little more. And depending on who you are and what your goals are as to how much brown rice you're going to have. And then have the size of your fist, at least protein. Your fish, your chicken, your turkey. But that was a great question, Charlene, because it reminded me to remind you guys to rate your plate. Order double vegetables, get them steamed, get some protein. This is exactly how you want to eat. Just to give you a visual, for those of you who know me know, I am a visual learner. As you can see, I'm going to do some visuals with you here tonight. But this is a visual of exactly the power of fats in terms of caloric density. That these two skinny shoestring potatoes are the equivalent of in terms of fat calories, of those 2 large baked potatoes. Now let me give you the takeaway here. It isn't go to a restaurant and order 2 large baked potatoes. That's not the takeaway. The takeaway is that most people don't stop eating at 2 skinny shoestring French fries. They will eat a whole plate of French fries, or at least a handful or 2. So make sure, while half of a large baked potato would have been enough to satisfy you, stop at half the baked potato and you're going to be good to go. Tell them to bake it dry. Then you decide what to put on it. At home, or Olivio or Smart Balance. If you like sour cream on your potato, you can use at home the Greek yogurt Fage Zero. Maybe, because it's going to taste exactly like sour cream. Some people garlic. I totally am. I think that's a great way to not have saturated fat from sour cream or butter, but yet to have the taste of a delicious baked potato. It'll taste like it's topped with sour cream. Let me know if that's something that you would do, because I think that'd be good to know. Also, just know that I'm a visual learner. So, let me tell you. This is what I'm so sorry I lost my train of thought. That we eat in anticipation. Because of that, this man at Cornell, he's a psychologist by training. He's fascinated. We all are able to hear what he's finding. Invitation to his one night, a group garnered such an invitation, and with great anticipation, they couldn't wait to go. And when they got there, just as they had anticipated, the food was delicious. Every course, oohs and ahs. And then they looked at him and they said, all right, what gives? Because they know he always does these studies. And he smiled and he said, yep, there was a study going on here tonight, but I'm going to let my wife tell it. And she laughed and she said, you know something? I didn't make a thing. If somebody thinks you're a good cook, you're 80% there. She said, that was all prepared foods from the supermarket. I just bought a rotisserie chicken and I plated it. I bought their cake. I fanned some strawberries and put a little coulis underneath. But in anticipation, you had already thought the food was going to be great, and so I was golden. This is how we eat, and this is how we make judgment calls. If I said to you, I'm inviting you to my home for dinner, and I'm going to give you dinner or I'm going to give you lunch, and in front of each person I had a brown paper lunch bag, you'd say, what is she serving us today? But if instead I had dressed the table with linen tablecloth and crystal and china, you'd say, wow, is this going to be good? Now, neither way have you seen the food. You're just making a judgment call based on your anticipation. If I said to you, and my patience, if I said to you, you guys are doing so great, I'm getting you a bottle of wine to show you how proud I am of you. And if I had given you a carton with a screw cap, you'd say, oh, cheap, isn't she? But if I gave you a bottle that said vintage something, you actually might save this wine for a special occasion. Now, neither way have you tasted this wine. You have no clue if you like it or not, but you're making a judgment call based on anticipation. So make sure that you do so using good judgment, that you get where you want to be. For those of you who remember Monty Hall, the talk show host on Let's Make a Deal, get to where you want to go. Make a deal with you that's going to get you to your goals and not sabotage your goals in any way. The first thing I suggest that you do is practice visualization. Practice seeing yourself going to this restaurant, ordering appropriately, having the experience you are hoping to have, leaving feeling great that you were able to do it, go out to eat, you had a good meal, and you stayed on course. Feeling even better when you get home, and even better the next day that you were able to eat healthy. Yes, you can go out to eat and do just fine. It'll give you the confidence that you need when you practice it by visualization first. Also, we tend to model our eating around the people we're with. So if you go out to eat with the order everything, eat everything guy, it's just too easy to say, all right, I'll have whatever he or she is having. Don't do it. Make sure that you're confident in who you are. One of my favorite stories is by Marlo Thomas, the actress. Before she went to go out on stage for the very first time, there was a lot of rumblings and a lot of stress. Would she be good? Would she be anywhere nearly talented as her famous father, Danny Thomas? Right before she went to go out on stage, there was a knock at her dressing room door, and it was a white box, a big white box with a beautiful red bow, and there was a note from her father. When she opened up the box, there was a pair of horse blinders, and it was a note from her father that read, run your own race. Always do, whether it's in eating or in life, what you know is the right thing for you to do. This is about you. This is about your health, about how you feel. So do what you know is the right thing for you. Doesn't matter what the one to the left and what to the one to the right or the table over. Doesn't matter what they're eating or drinking or doing. You do what you know. You stay the course, and you're going to feel great. We're terrible. What's interesting about when you go out to eat is that there are a lot of environmental triggers. All you have to do is be driving along and you're totally fine. All of a sudden, you pass a Chinese restaurant or you pass a bakery and you smell those aromas and you say, oh, I gotta have it. Now, you were fine the block before. You were going to be fine in advance. Let me know if you've had. Then you know, oh, I'm loving Charlene, awesome. Then you know that I am not talking out of turn. They are powerful. If you ever gone to a restaurant and you see them wheeling around the dessert cart, why do you think? That's an environmental trigger. It's to get you to want to order that dessert. Maybe you previously had no intentions of that dessert, but now you see it and you say, oh, that looks good. I got to try that. That's exactly what they're doing. So if you have pre-planned your meal, you have a roadmap, stick to it so you won't be swayed by these environmental triggers. Notice in a restaurant, restaurant's a big business, so notice the environmental triggers that are in place. Number one is the lighting. What's interesting about the lighting is when the lights are bright, we don't eat as much. Our awareness is heightened. We think people can see us, see what our body looks like, see what we're eating. We see us, see what our body looks like, see what we're eating. Our awareness is heightened and we don't eat as much. Dim the lights. Haven't we all been in a restaurant? Let me know if this has happened to you. You're sitting there, and as you're sitting there, the lights are going lower and lower and lower. It's not only for ambiance, but it's also because when you dim the lights, all bets are off. No one has to look. No one can see what we look like or see what we're eating. We don't have to look. Awareness, out the window, and we eat more. Pretty interesting. The second thing besides the lighting is the music. The music plays a key role. If the music was harsh and clash, you'd get a headache, you'd be out of there. But if the music is fun, the music has a good beat. Subconsciously, you're going to eat to the beat of the music. If you're eating to the beat of the music, how are you eating? You're eating fast. Now, it takes 20 minutes for your brain to get you the message that you're full. 20 minutes is a long time to wait. If I said to you, I know, I told you the live stream's at 7, but I was feeling a little hungry and a little parched, so I went to have a little snack first, and I don't arrive here till 7:20. You're going to be mad because you were ready at 7 when I told you it was. And to wait till 7:20, you probably would be long gone and be a little disappointed, I'm hoping, and perhaps mad. And you'd be right to feel that way because 20 minutes is a long time to wait. But that's how long it takes for your body to send your brain the message to let you know that you're full, that you've had enough. So if you've ever eaten and you know you ate because the food in front of you is no longer there, but you don't feel any different than you did the 3 seconds before you ate it, it's because you don't know. The message is not going to arrive for another 20 minutes. So this is the most frustrating thing I can ask you to do, but it works. Choose one meal a day. You choose it, where you're going to practice slowing down the rate of eating. I want you to cut your food into bite-sized pieces. It's a biteful. It's not a mouthful. They do all these studies around food. Those who chew 0 to 10 times eat more calories than those who chew 10 or more, so chew at least 10 to 20 times. I want you to eat like a chef would. Be present in the moment. Take the time to savor the taste, the texture, the flavor of this food. Swallow. Take a breath. This is celebratory. You've got food on your plate. Take a sip of water or a low-cal drink, put it down, and start the process all over again. Any extreme is no good. If you go too quickly, you don't know you ate. If you go too slow, it's also the other extreme. If the music is relaxing, you're going to sit back, you're going to linger longer. The longer you linger and the longer you sit back, the more likely you are to pick a little extra something, order a little extra dextra. That's exactly what you don't want to eat because you're going to eat too much. So any extreme is no good. And haven't we all done it? You go to leave, you're eating and you feel full and you sit because you're talking. You go to get up a little while later and you say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I ate the whole thing. But you ate it because it was there, and you sat too long. So that's why when you go out to eat, you're going to set yourself up for success. 30 minutes, set a clock, 30 minutes for you to eat your meal. Not sooner, not later. But when you feel full, stop. Hunger is learned. So teach yourself when you need to eat and when you don't. Ultimately, you want to learn how to be physically quiet with your mouth, that you don't need to be chewing all the time. To bridge that, things like sugar-free mints, water. Sometimes we confuse hunger and thirst. So have a glass of water. It'll help to fill you up. It'll flush you out. And it'll help you to discern whether or not you're hungry or you're thirsty. So make sure that you do that. Start your meal with a glass of water and it will help you to start to feel full. Also, you don't want to arrive at the restaurant ravenous or out of control. So make sure that you want to make sure if 0 is ravenous, and 10 is I am so full. Make sure that you don't go below a 3 and you don't go above a 7, that you stay in that range. So if it's going to be a long time between when you're eating and then when you're going out to eat, make sure you have a snack so that you're not out of control and that you won't fall prey to things in the restaurant. Speaking of, what do you think is the first thing that will get you when you sit down at the table? If you said bread basket, you would be correct. And what's interesting about the bread basket is we tend to eat in variety. So if you go out to a restaurant with one kind of bread, that's one thing. But you go to Stephanie's on Newbury Street, she's got breads, scones, rolls, crackers, and you're going to want to taste them all. You're going to want to eat them all. You're going to want to, you want to do more. Great session. My takeaway is to try to be more aware and more assertive. Awesome, Boston Phil, man. I'm so thrilled. Thank you. I'm so glad you're enjoying this. So make sure that you pre-plan accurately as to whether or not you're going to include this bread basket or not. Keep in mind, every thick slice of bread or roll will be about 140 calories. Every serving of fat, whether it be butter or oil or whatever they have, or margarine, will be an extra 100. So you can easily get to 500-600 calories and not think you ate yet. So make sure that you accurately assess whether or not you're going to include this as part of your meal, and make sure that you do so accurately. They did a study in an Italian restaurant. People who were so afraid to dip in the oil actually ate more calories from bread. So make sure that you have an accurate understanding of what it is that you want to eat and what it is that you realistically will eat, so that you don't leave saying, oh my gosh, I gained all this weight, I have no idea where it's coming from. You want to always be honest and have a realistic roadmap, so that you have the experience that you were hoping and that you know that you had. But I think that's interesting. The most profitable section in the restaurant, you might not, you probably will know this one, is the bar. It's the alcohol. What is the first thing they ask you when you go out to eat? Can I get you a drink? Can I refill your drink? And what's interesting about alcohol is that alcohol lowers your blood sugar. You need to eat when you drink. Alcohol raises blood pressure. It puts tremendous stress on your heart. Alcohol raises a kind of fat called triglycerides. Triglycerides are a kind of fat that contributes to plaque. They are a predictor for a future coronary event. So keep an eye on your triglycerides. Alcohol can interfere with medications. So the guideline from the American Heart Association is no more than 1 alcoholic beverage a day for a woman and no more than 2 for a man. But if you're going to have 2 and you're a man, and you have heart disease, do not have your alcoholic beverages consecutively. It's too much stress on your heart. Have 1, have water, and then have your second. And make sure you eat when you drink to keep your blood sugars high and to keep your judgment. Now, what's interesting is if we eat when foods are accessible, and just an understanding of that, this fella at Cornell, who I talked about earlier, who's interested in how we eat, he did a study. He said to a group of students, I'm going to teach you what 4 ounces, what a half a pound, what it all looks like, but in exchange, I want you in my studies. And it'll all be on the up and up. And they said, great, we're in. Big mistake on their part. So he brought them to a conference room, and there was a long oval table. And in front of each student, there was a bowl of soup. Unbeknownst to half of them, there was a hole in the bottom of their soup bowl. It was connected to a pipe underneath the table, which was connected to a pump, which would continuously pump soup up into their bowls. So this side of the table would know when to stop because they had a finite serving. It would be the bottom of the bowl. There was no more soup left to have. They were done. This side, however, would never see this bottom of the soup bowl because soup would continuously be pumping up, pumping in. So when the heck are they going to start eating? And would there be a difference between what they ate with a finite serving and what this side ate? And sure enough, there was a huge difference. Those who never saw the bottom of their soup bowl ate 73% more soup than those who had a finite serving. So don't trust you. I don't care how well educated you are. We're not trustworthy. We're not good at this. If it's there, we'll eat it. And just to drive the point home, he said, I'm going to take these guys to the movies and give them 7-day-old stale popcorn. Can you even imagine what 7-day-old stale popcorn must taste like? He said, let's see what happens. I'll give some a big bucket, some a smaller bucket. 7-day-old stale popcorn, I'm guessing, must taste like cardboard. Sure enough, didn't matter. If they had a big bucket, they ate more. So it doesn't even matter what it is. If it's around you, you're going to eat it. So when you go out to eat, you ask your server, what is the portion size? Make sure they know. Every restaurant has a food scale. It's a function of their food cost. If your server doesn't know, send them into the kitchen. They know, and you'll make this server a better educated server. If you ask this question at this point in their shift, chances are they're going to get this question again later. So you'll help them so they'll be better prepared for next time. But Tell them, if, oh, you have a 42 ounce whatever, great. I'll pay for the dinner. I'll take 3 ounces, 4 ounces, 6 ounces, whatever it is that you want. Bag the rest. Just bring me that so that you're set up for success. And then you'll have future meals during the week. Now, I thought this guy at Cornell has way too much fun. And really, nobody is more fun than moi. So I thought I'd play a game with you since we're in the live stream and I can see, oh, you guys, I can see there are a lot of people here on the live stream, which is giving me great joy, as you know. Taking a look at these two, the steak, the chicken, which do you think weighs more by weight? Please type in your answer because I'm going to check. And so I'm going to ask you, which weighs more, the steak or the chicken? As you're writing in your answers and thinking about that, we're not only not good with weight, we're also not good. Hi, good evening, David. How are you? We're also not good with volume. Taking a look at these glasses of wine, can you guess which glass has the most? And can you guess which glass has the least? So I'm going to look here. Somebody just said that they felt that the chicken weighs the most. Somebody else said the steak. See, we go every which way. But you guys, awesome Tom, awesome Tree Spectral one for writing in. And somebody else said the steak. Well, the two for the steak are going to, and Charlene, the steak. Steak wins. You're right. The steak weighs more than the chicken, which is funny because sometimes you would see, did I say that right, Bob? Yeah, that's because you see a big piece of chicken. Some people think that weighs more, and it did not. So that's interesting. So go you. I could really trip you up, and thanks for writing in. And let me know about the wine, which one has the least and which one has the most. If I put this on a bed of greens, if I put it in a sandwich, I could really have tripped you up. If I put it on a big plate or a small plate, I could also throw you a curveball. There was a patient of mine who owned restaurants. He liked a China pattern. He liked it in a large pattern. So he ordered it. His customers complained bitterly. They said, how dare you, particularly during these hard economic times. You're charging us the same, you're giving us less food. He didn't want to go through the whole rigmarole of how it was just a China pattern and a large plate. So he returned the plates, he got the smaller size, and they said, wow, you really listened. Now the only thing that changed was the plate size. How do you like that? The snifter, okay, so David's saying that the brandy snifter holds the most. What do you guys think? Which one holds the least? Okay, Charlene, you say the short fat one has less, the tall skinny one has the most. The tall skinny one meaning this one, Charlene, this is the champagne. So this is a brandy snifter, this is a champagne glass. This is a Pilsner for beer. This is a regular wine glass, and this is a water glass. So Charlene, yeah, okay. So Charlene says that this champagne glass has the most, and the short fat one has the least. Really, let me show you that David got this part right. That this is the most, the brandy snifter. Next, oh no, David, you didn't. You almost did. You did. This has the most. I'm trying to remember how I did this. This is the second most. What's interesting, this is the third, and these two, look at this. You may not think this, but those two have the exact same amount. Isn't that interesting? Same, here and there. So don't wine glass least. So you got that right. Tom, you got it right. So this is why we're not good. And can you imagine how a bartender could severely overpour or underpour what he's giving you? So make sure that when you're home that you measure and start to get a feel, because it makes a big difference. The serving size for wine is 4 ounces. The serving size for straight alcohol is 1.5 ounces, and for beer it's 12. But you can easily be fooled. What's interesting is when you make a reservation on Open Table, there are 2 boxes now that you can check. One is don't ask me about alcohol, and the second is don't bring the bread basket to the table. So if that's appropriate for you, you might want to consider it. Now, being a visual learner, as you can see, and by the way, I just want you, maybe we can scan down here and show you, these are examples of the restaurant laws that you can see from Subway to Kentucky Fried Chicken, Pizza Hut, Starbucks, Taco Bell, that they are all providing you with these nutrition breakdown of the menu items. And looking at these, I just want to also tell you that I've consulted for McDonald's, and so I'm very familiar with their menu. And when you look at the nutrition breakdown on the McDonald's menu and you look at oatmeal, you're going to see that their oatmeal has saturated fat. Now, oatmeal doesn't have saturated fat. So why do you think theirs does? Because they're making it with cream. So knowing that, applying your knowledge of nutrition, look at the video on fats, and that will help to refresh you on what fats are healthy and what fats are not. That you would then say to them, I'd love to get the oatmeal, please substitute the cream, and I'd like you to make it with skim milk instead. They're happy to make the change. You just have to know to ask so that you have the experience that you are hoping to have. Now, I don't think you sip a cheeseburger through a straw. Doesn't that sound vile? But if you went to Starbucks and you got their cafe mocha, you might as well have done the same thing. If you got their Java chip frappuccino, ready for this? It's the equivalent of going to McDonald's and getting a cup of coffee. Now, take your cup of coffee, put 11 creamers, 29 packets of sugar in, because you just drank the same thing. I think people have no clue what they're eating. So my advice, skip the whip. Let coffee be coffee, skim milk, an artificial sweetener if you'd like. But you don't need all these extra flavorings that are going to add saturated fat and sugar to your day, because it's going to sabotage your goals. Now, people think vanilla bean is neutral, but but vanilla bean at Dunkin' Donuts, and I don't normally read things, are going to add up pretty fast. A vanilla bean colada is going to be ready for this. Hold on to your fillings. 43 teaspoons of sugar. Is that not beyond? Now, I have to tell you that I can see a kid going into Baskin Robbins and ordering an ice cream, and the adult says, can't eat ice cream. I don't eat ice cream. Oh, but look, they have a pomegranate banana fruit blast smoothie. Pomegranates, antioxidants, I'm in. Well, 1,020 calories, 58 teaspoons of sugar. Because something has pomegranate or salmon or turkey or anything that you might think of as being heart healthy, it doesn't give it the green light. It depends on what they did to it that makes a difference. Tell me if this is shocking you. Now, also tell me if this is like you. When I was growing up as a kid, I have to tell you, I didn't give nutrition not even a second thought. If I liked a food, I ate it, and that was it. So when McDonald's came on the scene with their Big Mac, French fries, and shake, it checked every box for me. I was in. I loved it. So now I have to thank God I'm alive, and I want to look back and see what was it that I was eating back then. And when I look at the shake, that shake I was eating, now not the fries, not the Big Mac, not the special sauce, 1,160 calories. 2 grams is what you're looking for saturated fat. My shake has 16. Also, it has 42 teaspoons of sugar. Keep in mind, do you think that they're making this shake for me fresh, that they're scooping the ice cream and taking my order? I can promise you that 3/4 of the menu of the business that McDonald's does is, it may shock you, is from the drive-through. So the criteria for inclusion on their menu is they have to be able to take the order, prep the meal, bag it, and serve it in under a minute. Otherwise, they've got a line down the street. So this is not a freshly made. This is an instant mix. Instant, for those of you I hope who are listening, should know. Remember that acronym SKIP, S-C-I-P, with skip with a C instead of a K. Go look at the video on label readings. It will refresh your memory. It's going to be high in salt. 140 is low sodium. This shake is 510. Now, in fairness to me, growing up, they didn't have this on the menu at the time, but they do now. Now, I should go to McDonald's and get their reduced fat vanilla ice cream cone. A, it's delicious, but B, it fits the bill. I'm going to cut 1,100 calories. I'm going to go down to 2 grams of saturated fat, that number we're looking for. I'm going to go to 60 milligrams of sodium, very low sodium, and much, much less sugar. So I'm going to leave the rest, that same restaurant, you can leave it one way or another. By the way, calorie dense pasta. The cheapest for spaghetti and meatballs I found was 1,200 calories. If I had gone to Cheesecake Factory and got their pasta da Vinci, it would have been 3,736 calories. Is that beyond? Also keep in mind that, speaking of instant, that if you get a hot chocolate or any kind of drink like that at a restaurant that's fast food like that, it will be high in salt. It'll be an instant hot chocolate, so it'll be high. Also keep in mind that a salad isn't a salad isn't a salad, it's what's in the salad. You go to Quiznos, they have a chicken Caesar flatbread salad, 920 calories. Where for those of you who have hypertension, you stay at 1,500 milligrams of sodium for the day, this salad, 2,090. That's almost a day's worth, more than a day's worth if you have hypertension, almost a day's worth if you don't, and it was just your salad. By the way, California Pizza Kitchen has a Waldorf grilled chicken salad with blue cheese dressing. Do you think these restaurants are going to be closing their doors to me? I'm hoping they're going to contact me so I can help them to modify their menus. 1,570 calories. This is a salad, 1,570. And for me, I'm on 1,200 calories at a 1,570 calorie salad. This is blowing my day's budget just by salad. 30 grams of saturated fat and 2,082 milligrams of sodium. That's just beyond. Watch the calories in alcohol. Calories we drink, we don't get the same satisfaction as we do from the chew. These can be significant. Red Lobster, a restaurant chain, has a margarita, 891 calories. These can add up fast. Just to give you a few items on different menus in the area, just to give you an idea of how you might modify. If you go to Ruby Tuesday or anywhere and you get a ground turkey burger, thinking that you don't eat meat, if you go to a supermarket and you buy just ground turkey, it's going to include skin, tendons, who knows what. It's got to say ground turkey, 93, 99% lean. So if you go to Ruby Tuesday, let's just guess what's in their Bella turkey burger. Not a sauce, not the fries, just the burger. 1,145 calories, 71 grams of fat. When you go to a restaurant, such as a Mexican restaurant, keep in mind that a lot of this is canned goods, canned beans, so on. So if it's canned, it's processed, means it's high in salt. There at Chipotle, they have a Mexican grilled chicken burrito. Not only is it 1,179 calories, but 2,656 milligrams of sodium. People say to me all the time, I love an Italian sub. I know it's bad. Do you? How bad do you think it is? Do you think it's high in salt? 4,604 milligrams of sodium in your sub. Get out the defibrillator. You're going to need it. Now, I'm not going to bore you with too many of these, but my son, when he was a kid, he loved to go to Outback for the bloomin' onion. Everybody know what the bloomin' onion is? Well, Chili's now has the same kind of a deal for their appetizer. They call it an awesome blossom. Your appetizer, not the dip, just the appetizer, 2,710 calories, and you ready for this? 6,360 milligrams of sodium. I mean, that's a heart attack on a platter. That's like saying, give me the stroke right here and right now. Why wait for dessert? If you take a carrot, that's great, but if you turn it into carrot cake, you've turned it into something totally different. At Cheesecake Factory, their carrot cake, at your dessert at the end of the meal without the swish whiff of whipped cream, is going to be 1,560 calories. That is beyond. This is at the end of your meal. Their chocolate cake, about 1,380. Because we're getting into spring, it's tomorrow. I'm going to tell you about a little ice cream. The waffle, hi Charlene, I know, you're dying to. It's shocking sometimes. The waffle bowl, that you ever wonder about those? The waffle cones, the waffle bowl. At Cold Stone Creamery, just the bowl, not the ice cream, is going to be 330 calories. Now, you get their cake batter ice cream in the gotta have it size, you are going to add another 980 calories. Your snack, 1,370 calories, and I didn't do one mix in. So make sure, if you go to a restaurant, ice cream parlor, get their sugar-free, fat-free, put it in a bowl, get the kitty size, it's totally enough, and make sure that you leave this restaurant having the experience that you were hoping to have. Any questions or comments about this? Were you shocked to hear as to what is in some of the foods that are being served up? Make sure, I know that the portions are so large, oftentimes my daughter and I will split a dinner, sometimes we'll get a couple of entrees, anything, tips from you guys, I'm looking for you, so I'm happy to hear it or to entertain any questions or comments or reactions to any of this, because I want you to know you can go out to eat, but I want you to have the experience that you were hoping to have by pre-planning your meal, by knowing what it is that you're going to have, apply your knowledge of nutrition, don't arrive starving because you'll be out of control, and make sure that you walk that server through every step of the cooking process, that you know what kind of fat is being used, that they aren't salting your food, that you have just what you want to eat in front of you. Oh my, what an education. I am so glad. This was so informative. Yay, I'm so glad, because that was just the intent of the live stream. You guys make it for me, so I'm so thrilled. But definitely go out to eat. Have a great time when you do. Just, you don't need to sabotage your goals in any way. For those of you who've joined me on the live stream, I want to say thank you. I know many of you will watch this in rebroadcast, and I'm thrilled about that as well. Definitely share this with friends and family. Have them subscribe to the channel. That allows me to continue to do this. And if there are any future segments that you'd like, or topics that you'd like me to do on a live stream, let me know, because I'm happy to do that. But I've stayed on, I think, quite too long for you guys. So I want to thank you all for joining me and staying with me on the live stream. And here's to all of you. So have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks on Tuesday at 7. Thanks, everybody.